Stream. So the Maestro's back and I can better than that with another good old-fashioned video. This is what's commonly known as the Maestro State of the Union. Or more commonly known as I'm pressing out to the brink of utter despair. And, on top of that, the guy who I was supposed to do an interview with came in my stream yesterday. Oh no. It looks like it worked out pretty well because I only mentioned a couple times lesbian sex, you know, so that's pretty relatable. Anyway, we're going to be watching the thing about the State of the Union, which is what sleepy Joe Biden, who's asleep with his eyes open. No, he could never do that. He's not good. He's not even close to Gandalf. He has no molecules in his brain. Ben Shap, the Shapmeister's take on it, and legendary.
They're here tonight to mourn the state of our nation, because the state of our nation is pathetic. And it is pathetic in the main because of the President of the United States.
Yep.
As it turns out, we all should listen to Barack Obama. In 2020, former President Obama said something simple, yet profound about his...
The only thing he's ever said right.
...former vice president, a man he had labeled his brother. He said, don't underestimate Joe's ability to F things.
It looks like the Shapmeister has an earring here. Sketchy.
Up. Barack Obama was right. Joe Biden came into the office on the wings of eagles. He was handed a working vaccine and a distribution plan for that vaccine.
The wings of eagles? My sheep!
He was handed an economy that had been placed into an artificial coma in order to prevent the spread of COVID. But that was about to rebound to record.
Oh yeah, he got everything handed to them. He got handed an economy where it was set into a place purposely by the American government, which once it goes back to normal, it's gonna basically bound to like to the highest points. But instead, because of all Pesdin's regulations and treacherous innuendos, and farsome riddles. You couldn't find Waldo if you wanted to, Pesdin. The economy is instead experiencing inflation and bread now. When I got here, I got to Texas at the beginning of Trump's president or the end of Trump's presidency, and bread was $1. $1. Now it's $4.30. I curse you, Biden.
Growth rates.
I drove all the way down to Texas on 2 tanks of gas. It cost me $40 for a 27-hour ride. Now I can literally go to the grocery store and back in that much cost.
He was handed a stable foreign policy.
Yep.
And he had been blessed with the unending bounty of sycophantic media coverage welcoming him into the Oval Office with an approval rating of nearly 56%.
I don't know who
What did he do with these advantages? He presided over perhaps the worst first 14 months of any presidency since the Civil War. And unlike Abraham Lincoln, our current crisis is entirely of Joe Biden's making.
Yep.
On issue after issue, Joe Biden is not merely wrong, he is aggressively wrong.
How can you F up this bad?
He is not merely foolish, he is stubbornly foolish.
Called being a Democrat.
Joe Biden became president with one goal, to enshrine himself in history as a great leader. Today, we can safely say that he is one of the worst leaders in American history.
He is the worst.
On foreign policy, Joe Biden has made America a laughingstock. Our enemies don't respect us, they don't fear us, they laugh at us. Biden promised stability. He promised he would be the adult in the room. Instead, he has acted like a toddler, whining, mewling, throwing tantrums, and then, in the end, capitulating. He precipitously withdrew from Afghanistan for no apparent reason and with no actual strategy, destroying a country for which America had expended thousands of lives and trillions of dollars by handing it over to a group of 8th century radical Islamist barbarians. Those barbarians promptly blew up 13 American service members. And, in retaliation, Joe Biden's Reaper drones eviscerated an innocent family, including 7 children. Now, millions will...
He went out of Afghanistan for literally no reason at all. Trump had set it up where we're going to leave 2,000 troops just to keep the peace, and then we control that area, and instead he just pulled them out for literally no reason, destabilizing the entire region, giving the power back to the Taliban scum, and killing a bunch of Americans in the process, too, and leaving Americans behind. Pesdin is the worst president in American history.
Starve. Thousands will be sold into sex slavery, and terror groups will reconstitute on the very soil from which the attacks of September 11th were launched. And thousands of Americans were left behind to suffer under the Taliban. Joe Biden cut off the Keystone XL pipeline and greenlit the Russian Nord Stream 2 pipeline, enriching Vladimir Putin and destroying America's energy independence.
We were energy independent for the first time for no reason at all because he's one of those climate change morons. Virtue signaling scum. He cut off our energy independence and basically gave Russia an insane amount of energy and ways to just basically made Germany indebted to Russia because Russia now supplies Germany 50% of their oil and gas. So bad.
Then he proceeded to futz about uselessly as Putin prepared and launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. All of which paves the way for a Chinese attack on Taiwan and more aggressive Chinese moves.
Because when America is weak, that's when the predations of other predator countries and communist scum pop up.
South China Sea. And when it comes to our own borders, Joe Biden has ushered in the greatest wave of illegal immigration in modern history.
There's so many. I'm not kidding. Joe Biden, in Houston, I live in Houston. You can't meet someone who I'm not kidding, probably. Let's see, what's an actual number? There's probably like 3 out of 10 people you meet that can't speak English. I'm not kidding. Like, the maids we hired didn't speak English. The person to do the roof we hired didn't speak English. No English. The people we tried to do the fence didn't speak English. The people, we know why. And they're probably illegal.
Biden's administration was on track for 2 million border apprehensions. The reason is clear. Illegal immigrants have been openly telling media members they're here because they believe Joe Biden will welcome them. Meanwhile, on our northern border, Joe Biden has stood in solidarity with Justin Trudeau as he claimed emergency powers to crush freedom in Canada. But at least Joe Biden has brought transgenderism and diversity, equity, and inclusion to the Defense Department. Don't you feel safer already? On the economy,
I feel so safe when there's a 9'3" Russian guy with a beard with a pickaxe going up against a pregnant woman. It's great.
Biden has somehow turned a historic recovery into a chaotic nightmare. For 4 decades, inflation had not been a persistent problem in American life. Today, inflation rates are running at a 4-decade high, thanks to his socialistic spending plans and ridiculous regulations.
He thinks he can just pump money into the economy and have there be no consequences. The most sickening thing. He doesn't understand. He doesn't even understand how to open up a doorknob. That guy couldn't even peel a banana.
Wage gains have been erased. Gas prices are emptying wallets, and the hundreds of
probably uses a banana as a dildo
that went dark thanks to Democratic-induced lockdown policies will never come back, erasing the life savings, dreams, and jobs.
For no reason, too. About a virus that has a 0.000000001% chance to kill you.
Of millions of Americans. We face future stagnation thanks to our unsustainable $30 trillion.
Trump was the best president in American history. Trump was literally an offspring of George Washington himself. Trump is just an all-American hero. I hate Biden so much, and I love Trump so much.
Our national debt. Joe Biden blames supply chain problems, of course, but at least Joe Biden's transportation secretary, Pete Buttigieg, has been on the case. I mean, when he's not taking 2 months off.
This guy is a dude who took off 2 months leave?
For paternity leave, well, nobody in the media seems to care. On crime, Joe Biden has consistently sided against police and with those who would make their job harder. Yeah. He has unleashed his Department of Justice on police departments all over the country. And innocent Americans, many of them black, have paid for his soft-on-crime policies with their lives. 12 major cities have recorded the highest number of homicides ever in the United States. But at least his vice president did help bail Black Lives Matter rioters out of prison. And then there's our society.
So crazy.
Joe Biden has made nearly every aspect of our society worse. Yeah. Joe Biden promised America unity when he entered office.
All he did was pit people against each other. He favors the criminals over actual hardworking, good citizens. It's so sickening.
He labeled his fellow Americans enemies. He encouraged businesses to bar the unvaccinated, even those with natural immunity, from public spaces.
I was making out with Granny since the very beginning.
Then he sought to have them fired
grannies
from their jobs en masse in the single largest executive overreach in modern American history. Joe Biden treated political dissenters as scum of the earth. Biden said those who didn't agree with his plans to federalize voting procedures were aligned with Jim Crow and the Confederacy. Biden's Justice Department cracked down on parents after being encouraged to do so by the National School Boards Association. which encouraged the DOJ to treat parents as
They still make little kids mask in schools when literally none of them mask. There's no science behind masking. Masking does absolutely nothing. It's a disgusting, dirty cloth that makes you even more unhealthy.
domestic
I didn't wear a mask since the very beginning. I never wore a mask once.
terrorists for opposing the indoctrination of their children into radical gender and race theory, for simply wanting to determine how their kids were educated. Joe Biden's administration slurred traditionally moral Americans as retrograde bigots for the great sin of believing that men are men and women are women. Joe Biden's White House encouraged social media to shut down critics for misinformation and defined misinformation as anything the White House didn't like. And then, he and his lackeys said he was doing this in defense of the science.
No.
As it turns out, Joe Biden is not merely a brutal failure of a president. He's an aspiring tyrant, held back only by the strength of our constitutional structure.
He's a disgrace.
A structure he now wishes to overthrow by trashing the filibuster, issuing unconstitutional executive orders, and at least threatening to pack the Supreme Court.
Everything he's done has been completely unconstitutional, and that peasant Fauci, man, I hate that guy. He needs to be banished to Mount St. Helena.
And, of course, Joe Biden...
He's been wrong about literally every single thing, and he's still exalted.
...is a liar.
It's unreal.
He doesn't lie as well as he used
fake
to.
news
He's
media.
no longer capable of speaking smoothly or coherently. But if a man spends a lifetime lying, he's not going to start telling the truth when he enters his 8th decade.
He's a mushmouth peasant.
Joe Biden lied, and lied, and lied again to you. For example, Joe Biden told you tonight that his plan to fight inflation will lower your costs and lower the deficit.
Remember on July 4th, he's like, oh yeah, your hamburgers are going to be 1 cent cheaper. Yeah, thanks, Biden.
He said he would lower inflation by pouring more cash into the economy, on top of the trillions he has already spent, while we are $30 trillion in debt. That is an insane lie.
Pay attention, your economics class peasant!
The Congressional Budget Office increased the federal budget deficit by $3 trillion.
They didn't have economics classes back in the 1500s, though.
$1 billion over the next 10 years if all Biden's proposed temporary programs became permanent, which is what he wants. And pouring the gasoline of government spending onto the raging fire of inflation is a perfect way to increase costs. Only a fool would propose it. Maybe that's why Joe Biden was telling you until the last 5 minutes that inflation would be temporary. And Joe Biden told you that his American Rescue Plan, his massive boondoggle stimulus plan, created jobs, lots of jobs. He said he created...
Wait, oh no, did my thing not save? Oh my god. Wait. Wait, do I have... Oh my god, if I don't have sound on this, I'm gonna be so mad. Do I not have sound on this? Oh my god, I might have... Oh my god!
6.5 million jobs. That is another lie. There is no evidence...
I don't know if I have sound on this video. Oh my god. I don't want to rewatch this thing, man. Actually, it was a pretty good video, but... Dude! Alright, hold on, I gotta end it to see.